Take that point further with Sushant because Sushant, see, and by the way, just had a breaking news visual. If I can play that visual there, I'll tell you more about the visual that just came into our newsroom just now. I'll put that visual inside. In Rostov, the city that was controlled by this private army called the Wagner Group, and that's a video that just came in. Yeah, that's the video there. That's the private army, Wagner Group. We're hearing that they've mined T-62 anti-tanks. They've mined them and placed roadblocks on the highways, key highways towards Moscow and beyond. You can see those mines there being laid out on the roads, right? Now, Sushant, my question to you is, I mean, he asked a question about who backs the Wagner Group, where do they get money from, where do they get arms from? In a battle like this, what do we know about the Wagner Group and how far they can go and support that they can take in a battle like this?
Niranjan, at the end of the day, they are a mercenary group, right?
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter remains that this is a group that has grown tremendously over the last few years, partly because of their involvement in theaters outside Europe, especially in Africa, where they've done a lot of fighting out there, but also in the Ukrainian on the Ukrainian front. Now, look, the question to be asked is not from where they will get their money from, where they will get their supplies from, etc., etc. The question to ask is whether these guys are utterly suicidal, that they have decided that they will challenge the might of the Russian army and the Russian state under President Putin, and are on a suicide mission. They might well be, I don't know, right? Or are these guys who might be taking a gamble, a calculated gamble, that if they were to carry out the kind of operations they are now carrying out, they think that they might have assurances, perhaps from some generals, perhaps from some other units within the Russian army, or some other groups within Russia, that they might, they might join their ranks, and that this thing will snowball into something which President Putin will find difficult to counter without shedding a lot of blood, or bringing out the entire firepower out, and that will have its own consequences. Now, to talk about what happened in Chechnya, for example,
yes,
is very different. I think those two situations are like chalk and cheese. In Chechnya, there was a rebellion by people who were technically not really Russian, right? These were Chechens. These were Chechens, and if you study the history of Russia with Chechnya, then you'll understand why the Russians did the kind of stuff which they did. Would they be able to do the same kind of stuff in Moscow or St. Petersburg or in any of the other big Russian cities or regions? I don't think so. So don't compare those two situations. But yes, what can be discerned from what the Russian tactics were in many of those situations were that they didn't care for collateral damage. They didn't care about decimating cities to achieve their objective. They're pretty ruthless when it comes down to that kind of fighting. They don't stand on ceremony. They are not, they don't have this very antiseptic kind of an approach which many other countries have. And will they resort to those kind of tactics right now? Now, frankly, I don't have any beef in this game. But the fact of the matter remains that I don't think anybody can say with any degree of certainty how this thing is going to unfold. Maybe, yes, given the past track record, a lot of people would put their money on President Putin. My question, however, is only that, what was the thinking in the Wagner Group that they decided to take this precipitate step? That they are thinking that they can do this, not just get away with it, but come out on top. Now, either they made no calculation, or they had some calculation, and we'll wait and see whether those assumptions hold true or they fall flat on the ground. And maybe by tomorrow we will see the grave of Yevgeny. This guy, whatever his second name is, I keep forgetting it.
Yeah.
The Wagner Group chief and the other commanders of the Wagner Group. But I would imagine that this is a considered decision which they've taken, and let's see how it unfolds.